Everyone ignored this old janitor, until a torn photo turned his whole life upside down. Every morning, same old thing, this quiet old man mopped the school floors, cleaned up after kids, and slipped out the back door before anyone really noticed him. Nobody asked where he came from. Nobody cared where he went at night. But one day, a kid found an old dusty box in a locker nobody used anymore, and inside, a torn black and white photo that didn't belong there. When that photo ended up in the janitor's hands, people started asking, who is this man really? And what secret did the other half of that photo hide? If you were that kid, would you dig deeper, or leave it buried? Drop your answer in the comments, and tell us what city you're watching from. Hit that subscribe button if you want to hear more hidden stories like this. See you in the next one. In a small dusty town, there was one high school everybody in town passed through at some point. Every morning, the halls were loud, sneakers squeaking, lockers slamming, kids yelling, teachers barking orders about homework they'd all ignore anyway. And right there, half invisible in all that noise, was a quiet old man pushing a mop. His name? Most just called him Mr. Howard. Some kids didn't even know his first name. Some called him Old Mop, Ghost Janitor, or just the old guy. Howard showed up every day at 6 a.m. sharp. He'd sweep gum wrappers, wipe off graffiti, unclog toilets nobody admitted to clogging. He'd eat the same sad sandwich on a bench behind the gym at lunch, then disappear through the back door long after the last bus left. He didn't talk. If someone asked him something, he'd just nod, maybe mumble, yep, or, all right. Nobody knew where he lived. Nobody cared enough to ask. Howard was like a ghost the school needed. The hall stayed clean, the lights turned off at night, but no one really saw him. It started on a stormy Friday, right before homecoming. The football captain, Tommy Grant, was showing off the new locker room his dad's company had donated. His teammates cheered, threw towels around, cranked up bad rap on a busted Bluetooth speaker. Tommy, always nosy, kicked open an old broken locker stuck in the corner. Something clattered out. An old metal box, dusty and cracked on one side. "Yo, check this out," Tommy yelled. Inside the box, some yellowed papers, a faded cloth badge, and a torn black and white photo, ripped right down the middle. Half a man stared back from the photo. Young guy, wearing a crisp uniform, a military hat crooked on his head, snow piled high behind him. Tommy laughed, waving the photo like a flag. "Who keeps this crap in here? Some dead teacher?" Just then, Howard showed up in the doorway, mop in one hand, bucket squeaking behind him. His eyes locked on the photo. For a second, it was like he'd seen a ghost. Tommy smirked. "Hey, Mr. Howard. This you? You look younger here. Nice hat, old man." Howard stepped forward fast. Faster than any of the kids expected. He snatched the photo out of Tommy's hand, stuffed it in his coat pocket, turned around without a word. "Yo, that's ours, man. We found it," Tommy yelled after him. Howard didn't even flinch. The door swung shut. Tommy and the guys laughed it off, but Tommy couldn't shake the look on the old man's face. That wasn't just some random photo. It meant something. Tommy had always been the type who couldn't let things go, especially secrets. Monday morning, he strolled into the principal's office under some dumb excuse about student leadership, and snuck a peek at the dusty old file cabinet by the wall. There it was, Howard Jefferson. Birth date, address, kinda. Most of the address line was just a P.O. box. But down at the bottom, service record attached. Tommy slipped the paper out and read, "Stationed, Alaska, 1982. He raised an eyebrow. "Alaska? Army?" Tommy skipped class that afternoon, camped out in the computer lab, typing Howard Jefferson, Alaska, 1982 into Google, then deep diving through newspaper archives older than his dad. One article popped up. "Miracle escape. U.S. recon soldier survives Arctic storm." A grainy photo, barely readable, showed a squad in snow gear. Faces half blurred. One guy in the front looked a whole lot like a younger Howard. Or maybe Tommy just wanted it to be him. The article said something about a failed mission, missing men, bad weather, but no details. And no follow-up. Tommy's gut told him, old Howard's got stories nobody here knows about. A few nights later, Tommy and his buddies, Joey and Mark, snuck into the school after dark. Joey had his dad's old pocket knife to jimmy the back door. They slipped through the dark halls like they were in some B-list Netflix thriller. They found Howard's closet easy enough. He kept it padlocked, but Mark popped it open with the knife. Inside, just what you'd expect. Bleach bottles, old mops, cardboard boxes of paper towels. But way in the back, under a shelf, was another box, bigger, older, taped shut. Tommy's hands were shaking as he pulled it out. They tore the tape. Inside was a stack of old envelopes, a rusty medal on a torn piece of cloth, and the other half of that photo. Tommy lined it up under his phone's flashlight. The full picture made his chest tighten. The other half of the photo showed a second young man, wearing a different uniform. Not US Army. A Soviet insignia on the shoulder. And scribbled under it in faded pen. H. Jefferson, 1982. Kirov. Joey whispered, "Dude? Soviet? What the hell?" Tommy's brain was racing. Why would a US soldier have a photo with a Soviet guy? During the Cold War? The next morning, Howard was wiping gum off lockers near the science wing when Tommy cornered him. Tommy slapped the taped-together photo on the wall. "Mr. Howard, care to explain why you and some Russian soldier were hanging out back in the day? You spying on us now, old man?" Howard froze. He didn't look scared, just tired. So tired it made Tommy feel like a jerk for a second. Howard picked up the photo, stared at the rip down the middle. He sighed. For the first time ever, he didn't just mumble and walk away. "You got time, kid?" he said. Tommy blinked. "Yeah, I guess." "Good. Sit." Howard leaned against the wall, eyes drifting past the buzzing fluorescent lights, back to snowdrifts taller than houses. "Winter of '82, he said, voice low and rough. "They dropped us in Alaska, close to the Soviet border. Recon mission, they called it. Just some kids playing spy games in the ice." He paused, thumb brushing the metal's rusted edge in his pocket. "A storm hit. Blindsided us. White out for days. I got separated. Wandering blind, half frozen. Thought I was dead." Howard's eyes glistened like he could still see the snow. "That's when I met Kirov. Sergei Kirov. Soviet patrol. Should have shot me where I stood. That's what he was trained to do." Tommy swallowed. "So what happened?" "He didn't. He dragged my half-dead ass into a cave, built a fire, rationed out his own food. 2 enemy soldiers, stuck together, waiting for a storm to kill them both." Howard huffed out a laugh with no humor in it. "You ever thank a man you're supposed to hate for saving your life? Try living with that." When the storm cleared, Kirov pointed Howard east, back to the American line. They shook hands, no words, no promises. Howard stumbled home alone. "They called me a hero," Howard said. "Pinned this damn medal on me, wrote me up in the paper. But I couldn't say what really happened. Couldn't say I owed my life to a man who was supposed to be my enemy." He looked Tommy dead in the eyes. "So I shut up. I kept mopping floors. Easier than telling people the truth." Tommy sat there, his smart mouth gone for once. He didn't know what to say to a man like that. The next day, Howard didn't show up. His old cart sat by the lockers like it was waiting for him. Tommy peeked into the closet. The photo was gone. So was the medal. Just a broom leaned in the corner, dusty and alone. A week later, Tommy got a small package at his house. No return address. Inside was the torn photo, taped back together better than they'd done, and the medal wrapped in a rag. A sticky note, shaky handwriting. "Some stories don't need to be shouted. Keep yours quiet for me. H." Years later, people still joked about the old janitor who nobody really knew. But sometimes Tommy would stand by the trophy case near the old lockers and touch the hidden compartment he'd made behind it, where the photo and medal rested, safe. Because some heroes don't want parades or statues. Some just want a quiet hallway, a clean floor, and someone who remembers.